All right, I see people joining us in the Zoom room. Go ahead and let us know who you are and where you're from in the chat box. We are looking forward to this morning's coffee hour guest, Ted Brown, Board of Trustee member and President and CEO of KETCHConsulting. We will be getting started in just a couple minutes. Thanks for joining the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Again, thanks again for joining us. If you are watching us on Facebook, go ahead and put in the comments where you're from and your Penn State class year. If you are here in Zoom, you could do the same in the chat box. We will be talking with Ted Brown from the Board of Trustees in just a moment or two. Thanks for joining Coffee Hour. Good morning, Rick. Harrisburg, class of 75, and I see Ron Lasher from Rocky River, Ohio, class of 86. A tough week to be living in Ohio, Ron, but good to see you. I see Steve Simeone from the class of 93. Good to see you, Steve. Sandy Grace from Iowa. Sandy, I hope you're doing well. Good to see your name on Coffee Hour this morning. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and welcome to the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Each week on Coffee Hour, you can expect to hear the voices of Penn Staters talking about what they're passionate about, and you can expect to feel the pride and the power of the Penn State network. This session is being recorded, and closed captions are available for this event. You can find information in the chat in Zoom or in comments on Facebook. Today, we're going to talk to Ted Brown, class of 68. Ted was elected by alumni to the Board of Trustees in July of 2013. He serves as the board's chair of the Risk Subcommittee. Ted graduated from Penn State in 1968 with a BS degree in science from the Eberly College of Science. He had a 30-year career with IBM, and he currently serves as the president and CEO of KETCHConsulting, a disaster recovery planning firm based in State College, Pennsylvania. In 2017, Ted was awarded the Lifetime Achievement and Consultant of the Year Awards by the Disaster Recovery Institute. I'm excited to welcome Ted Brown to Coffee Hour. Ted, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you. Let's start at the beginning. How did you become a Penn State Nittany Lion?
Well, I come from a family of about 14 Penn State alumni, including, most importantly, both my parents. So you could easily say if it weren't for Penn State, I wouldn't be here because my parents met at Penn State, nor would my children. So I applied to a lot of schools with engineering programs when I was in high school and was accepted several places, but chose Penn State because, as I said, it's kind of a family tradition. In fact, I have a picture that I carry around of me when I was 4 years old on the Lion.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when you were at Penn State, you were a very involved student. What kind of groups were you involved with here?
Well, I would say most importantly, I was very involved in my fraternity. I was fortunate enough to be elected president of Theta Delta Chi, but I was also in what was then called USG, Undergraduate Student Government. Today we call it UPUA. And I was in the board of the IFC. I was vice president of Alpha Phi Omega service fraternity because I was an Eagle Scout, and that's a logical
great.
follow-on to being Alpha Phi Omega. And I bet you didn't even know I was in Alpha Phi
I
Omega.
did not know that. I learned something new about you, Ted, every time we talk.
Yeah, and so that led to me being tapped by Parmenou, and then I also served as both the president of Parmenou as an undergraduate, and just a couple of years ago, president of the AIG. And I know how much you love AIGs.
I do. I love our alumni interest groups. They do such a great job keeping Penn Staters connected around what they're interested in. So when you were at Penn State, you were also going to class and studying, and you left with a science degree. What was your initial plan? What did you come to Penn State to want to study and then go off and do?
Well, I actually spent the first 3 years in chemical engineering. My plan was to become a chemical engineer. And I realized in the course of the studies that I probably, now this will date me, I probably didn't want to spend my life pushing a slide rule. And
Right.
that, for those who know what a slide rule is, in other words, sitting at a desk doing calculations and designing chemical plants and things like that.
Right.
And so I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I've always liked technical stuff, math, science, chemistry. And so that's how I migrated to science more general. And over time, and the activities I mentioned a moment ago really led me to believe that I wanted some kind of sales job. And so that's what I did at IBM. I've had every sales job there is, from sales rep to president. I don't mean I was president of IBM, president of my company, but I was a senior executive at IBM, but they were always some related sales job and always in technology. And I have to tell you a funny story. At a conference a couple of years ago, and I was speaking, and this young lady said, well, they gave me nothing in terms of bio to introduce you. What do you want me to say about you?
Right.
And you would expect that I said, well, first of all, mention I'm a Penn Stater. And secondly, that I've been around technology for over 50 years, or I guess at that time it was 50 years. And she said,
Right.
you mean there was technology 50 years? Well, if you think about it, a millennial's perspective of technology is something that fits in your hand,
Sure.
not
Sure.
something that fills a huge room.
Absolutely. If folks don't know what a slide rule looks like, just drive down College Avenue and take a look at the Hammond building. That's about as close as to a slide rule that you can see, kind of blown up, or
Well,
Google it.
actually, I would comment that a slide rule is more attractive. I'm delighted as a trustee that we've approved demolishing Hammond.
Yeah, this is the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford, and I'm joined by alumni trustee and president of KETCHConsulting, Ted Brown. So after your 30-year career at IBM, talk about KETCHConsulting and the work you do for your firm. And, you know, it takes you all around the world. Talk about the consulting firm and how you started that.
Well, it was really a logical follow-on after my years at IBM. The first 20 years at IBM were traditional hardware and software that we all know and love. And the last 10 were in creating a new recovery business, which then led to my consulting firm, which our mission is crisis preparation, crisis management, business continuity. And I was one of those boots on the ground kind of people. In my last couple of years at IBM, I spent over a year in the US Virgin Islands recovering the University of the Virgin Islands, 120 buildings on 3 islands. Where my first week there, I had no running water, no electricity. My first meal was bread and warm beer. And so if you think the Virgin Islands are a wonderful place, you're right, but not the week after a hurricane.
Right.
And so our consulting firm is essentially preparing organizations to recover from anything. One of my clients in California, and I can say their name because they've done a video, it's ACO, a construction firm. And we helped them put business continuity plans in place over a year ago. And they made a video saying how the preparation that we did, although it was not aimed at a pandemic, allowed them to flourish in their pandemic, and their business this year is growing.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. You've had great success in your consulting business. In 2017, you were awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award and the Consultant of the Year Award in the same year by the Disaster Recovery Institute. Talk a little bit about those honors.
Well, the most important thing I want to say, it was secret awards. I was at the conference, of course, because it was a speaker, but I didn't know I'd won either one.
Right.
And the Lifetime Achievement Award is especially exciting because it's voted on by people in the industry. So other professionals in business continuity and disaster recovery vote for that. And there are only 5 winners of that Lifetime Achievement Award ever. And I'm the only one that's won that and Consultant of the Year the same year. And last year, exactly a year ago this time, I was in Beijing speaking at a conference, and I have a picture of me and China's only DRI Lifetime Achievement winner. So it's pretty exciting, because the thing that makes it most exciting is when your peers vote for you for an honor like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ted, so you had this great career at IBM. You've had this kind of award-winning consultancy after your time at IBM, but you're also and I hope this comes across the right way. You're also a Penn State like super fan. There are Penn Staters who collect things, and then there's Ted Brown. Okay, you have one of the largest collections of Penn State memorabilia that I have ever witnessed, that probably exists in the world. Talk a little bit about your Penn State memorabilia collection, which extends far beyond what you see kind of behind me, right? It's more than just sports memorabilia. It's truly Penn State memorabilia.
Yeah, it is. Now, I have to admit, a lot of it is sports, especially
Right.
football. But as you said, it's more than just sports. And in fact, I brought some things here to illustrate that. I will put you on the spot, Paul. I'm
Okay.
sure you know the answer, but I'm going to ask you, what was Penn State's first name? What was the school called?
We were the Farmers High School.
And here is a course catalog
Oh my goodness.
from Farmers High School, dated 1859. And I have one from every year. It was Farmers High School, which was only a few years, and then it became the Agricultural College of Pennsylvania, and then became the Pennsylvania State College, and then it became
Right.
Penn State University in 1953. So yeah, I have a lot of historic things, and I think they're interesting to trace the history. And I'm proud of you, Paul, that you knew the answer. But by the way, I will tell your audience, we did not rehearse it. He did not know I was going to ask that question. But Paul's used to me putting him on the spot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ted, talk about how you've built the collection over time. Where do you get your items from? What do you decide to put in your collection? What do you decide? That might not be right for the collection.
Well, I don't know that there's any of the latter.
I don't think there is either.
I guess I would say that what does not interest me is the latest sweatshirt. I'm much more interested in unique things and historic things like the Farmers High School catalog. And so I guess I am discriminatory in the sense that I don't go into Lions Pride to buy the latest sweatshirt, although I just did buy a sweatshirt in Lions Pride.
Sure.
But I needed a new sweatshirt. But I'm much more interested in one-of-a-kind, unique, historic things that really tell the story of Penn State. In fact, my good friend Lou Prado and I have talked for years about writing a book, and the title of the book would be The History of Penn State Through My Stuff.
Right.
Now, and I think it'd be interesting, like that Farmers High School thing I showed you a moment ago, to relive the history of the university.
I think I was an undergraduate history major. I think artifacts are a great way to tell stories of our history. And you certainly have numerous of them. I remember, I love the milk bottles that you have from the Creamery. It's just it's kind of walking through Penn State's history,
Yep.
artifact by artifact, and so there are some great things that you have in your collection.
I didn't bring any milk bottles with me today.
That's okay. That's okay. If people can.
But you ask, where I get this stuff. I just in the last 2 weeks bought another milk can in an antique place in Bellefonte, as if I needed another milk can. I think I probably have 15, but the big steel milk cans, the ones that are 3 feet high. Just got another one of those.
Right. So I am compared to you. Well, everyone compared to you is an amateur collector, right? But I have these little things every now and then. I have my Joe Paterno autographed Fiesta Bowl program, and a number of things. You can see my bottles, my Coke bottles up there, and some autographed football helmets that I have. But one of my prized possessions was a football card that I had, and it was so serendipitous how I obtained it. I was working in North Carolina at East Carolina University. I was there for about a decade, and one day I was talking with my administrative assistant, and we got to talking about sports and football and how I've been a Penn State fan my whole life. And she said, "Well, my grandfather Milt played football at Penn State." And I'm like, "Milt?" I'm like, "What years was he there?" And she said, "Well, he's older. He was there in the 50s." And I said, "Is your grandfather Milt Plum?" And she said, "Yes." How did you know Milt Plum? And I said, "Well, I know Penn State football, and fans of the program know Milt Plum, quarterback, went on to play with the Detroit Lions and have a great NFL career." But she came in one day with an autographed Milt Plum football card from when he was at Penn State, not from the Detroit Lions, but a Penn State Milt Plum card. And I had that right up here in my office for the longest time. And then one day you came by, and I was so excited to show you, because I didn't know if that might be something. If I had something that Ted Brown didn't have in his collection, that's great. And so I showed you that, and I think I ended up giving that to you for the collection.
Yes, you did. Yep.
And so,
and I apologize, I didn't bring it into the room.
No, that's okay. It's just serendipitous how we come about some of these things.
Well, in fact, you asked earlier, and I never answered where I get this stuff. Number one, I'm always looking, and always looking. And and I mean, whenever I go anywhere, I spoke at a conference in San Antonio a couple of years ago, and went into an antique store and bought 10 the Fred Waring and the Pennsylvania records.
Oh, wow.
In an antique store in Texas.
Right.
So I'm always looking, but also, and you just illustrated this, a lot of friends around the world enjoy giving me things because they'll know those things will be honored as they are as part of my collection. So I buy stuff on eBay, although I used to be on eBay a lot. Once I was elected to the Board of Trustees and my business and so forth, I really don't buy much on eBay anymore.
Right.
But I'm still always looking. And I travel around the world.
I know you have some pieces there with you. So talk about some of your favorite pieces, maybe some that were more difficult to find.
Well, I'm asked all the time, what's the most valuable? And I ignore that question. This isn't about value, dollar value, money. Many things I don't even know what it's worth. I may know what I paid for it, but that's not the same as what it's worth. I'll give you a great example about dollar value. One of my favorite things I got for free because it was a gift.
Right.
And it was from an assistant coach. And I later had Tom Bradley sign it, but this is the defensive scheme for Joe Paterno's last game.
Okay.
Now that's clearly one of a kind.
Right.
Item. Now this one I do know I paid money for. Nick Gancitano's 82 national championship ring. He was our place kicker.
Right.
Won the game against Pitt. I think he kicked 4 field goals, and that was our only score, as I recall, from the 82 team. And the other question I'm frequently asked is, what are you missing that most interests you? Well, that ring answers that question, because I do not own an 86 national championship ring. Now, I have a lot of things from that year. My wife and I were fortunate enough to go to both the championship games, the Sugar Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. And I have a lot of items from those games. But I do not have a ring from '86. Elaine and I went down for breakfast. I guess it was the day after the Sugar Bowl. And there across from us in the restaurant are football players,
Right.
including Nick. And so I had things autographed. And I was with Sue Paterno Sunday, and she has these napkins that I'd never seen before that are very cool. It's a football player, and you can tell by his position he's about to catch a pass.
Right.
Except what's coming to him in the air is a book.
Oh,
And the purpose of the napkin for recruiting was you study, you get good grades, you get to play. And so in typical fashion, I said, Sue, would you autograph that? And I was with Mike the mailman. We were taking pictures. By the way, that reminds me, I should have said this earlier, so Sue isn't mad at me. I want to mention the Happy Valley Cruise next June that is to raise money for the Hope Gala. That in turn gives money to Thon. This will be the third Happy Valley Cruise. I've been in the first two. It's an amazing event with a lot of stars like Sue Paterno and Jay Paterno.
Right.
And therefore, Ted gets to get autographs. So I have a football autograph by both Lydell Mitchell and Franco Harris together. They played together, but there aren't very many footballs autographed by the two of them. And
well, you have a hat sitting there somewhere.
Yes.
From that cruise. Talk a little bit about the hat.
Well, this is classic serendipity. So I'm on this cruise. The ship docks in Cozumel, Mexico, and we were going to go to this picnic in the afternoon, but we had docked the night before. So I got off the ship in the morning. I had plenty of time to go out and walk around and get back in the ship before the formal tour left. And as you get off the ship, I'd never been to Cozumel before. There's all these stores and stands selling souvenirs to the tourists that just get off the ship. And I'm walking around, there's this little kiosk kind of thing. And it's got, quartz animals and things like that. And amazing, this hat. Now think of that in terms of serendipity. Ted Brown gets off a ship in Mexico, and there's a Penn State Cozumel hat, which by itself was special enough.
Right.
But then I had the legends on the ship sign it. So Franco Harris and Jay and Sue and a bunch of other people on the hat. By the way, I'm in charge of the charity auction for the cruise. And so I bought, the guy had 5 of these hats. I bought one for Ted and got the rest autographed and sold them for $150 a piece to raise money for Special Olympics.
That's amazing. Now, that's not the only place in the world that you have either found or had somebody create something with a Penn State theme. You were in China this time last year. Talk a little bit about the lion that you found in China.
Well, I actually, I was in Beijing for a conference for 2 days, and then I was a tourist for 5 days. And as I said earlier about always looking for things, I was in the flea market in Beijing for 8 hours, looking at things. And I went prepared. I took a carry-on suitcase that was empty and a full-size suitcase that was empty, but they weren't when I came home. So in my collection is a shelf and a half of Beijing things, lions, mountain lions, African lions, one amazing piece of 2 lions fighting each other carved out of a single block of wood. But of course, those are random lions.
Sure.
But in that flea market was an artist who you'd sit down like the sketch artist would do a sketch, but he's a sculptor and he uses this soft clay that turns hard over a couple of days. And he makes his money by having people sit down and he carves their head. Right. And I said, well, I have a different request. Could you make me a Nittany lion? And of course, this is through an interpreter.
Right.
Because he spoke no English. Fortunately, I was with my host, who is a Chinese American. He's a American citizen, but was born in China, that I've known through the DRI that I mentioned that we talked about earlier.
Right.
So he was there to help me translate. And so through a translator, I said, could you make me a Nittany lion head? And of course, what does that look like? Right. So through the internet and a picture, this is amazing. He carved that out of this soft clay from a picture on the internet. Now, isn't that remarkable?
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
And so that was one of my Beijing purchases. But as I said, a shelf and a half worth of items, including a big gold panther that was on a liquor box.
Ted, what other pieces do you have there?
Well, more than we have time for. So let's see what else is exciting. I talked earlier about my blood relatives that are Penn State family, and I also mentioned my fraternity. And so I think this is pretty special because this was the pledge paddle given to me by my little brother, Mike Erdman, who I hope you know, Paul.
I know Mike Erdman. Mike's
president of the State College chapter of the Alumni Association. That's my little brother from the.
I did not see. That's another thing I didn't know about you, Ted.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, Mike's a great volunteer for the Alumni Association, served on Alumni Council for a number of years, and is the current president of our Center County chapter now. So that's a small world. That's great.
Very, very small.
How about?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how about the game program that you have there? A little bit of a unique game program that you have from a high school game.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
This is from Brooklyn Prep. Now, why would I have a Brooklyn Prep high school program? Well, it's when Joe Paterno was quarterback at Brooklyn Prep when he was in high school. But by the way, I also brought about a half dozen Brown football programs from when Joe was quarterback at Brown.
That's amazing.
And that's how he came to Penn State, because he was a quarterback at Brown. Rip Engel was a coach there. Rip came to Penn State, brought Joe with him. Joe was going to come here for a year and then go to law school. And of course, the rest is history. In fact, I'd like to say at conferences, I'm so old that when I was first a student, Joe Paterno was not head coach.
That's right.
I was a freshman in '63 and Joe became head coach in '66.
That's great. Well, Ted, you have some great pieces in your collection. We appreciate you sharing them with us. You serve on the Board of Trustees, and so I don't want to let you go without asking you about what are some of the most pressing issues facing the university from a Board of Trustee perspective right now?
Well, obviously, I'd be a fool to answer it any other way than the pandemic is the most pressing issue, and it has been since the beginning of the year. In fact, I did a presentation a couple of weeks ago at a virtual conference on what Penn State and the board and the Penn State leadership and the faculty and the students have done in I don't know if the recovering is the right word. And I see they just put up on the screen there where you can get that presentation. And I think you'll enjoy it because it documents what we've done as a team. By team, I mean the board, I mean President Barron, I mean the faculty and the students. And I would like to compliment the students. When I was putting that presentation together, it had to be pre-recorded, and I had a little issue with that. In fact, I told the host of the conference, you're asking me to record the 6 o'clock news for December.
Right.
Now,
right.
And so we did multiple recordings, and I went, because it had to be recorded, I went on campus. And I was so proud of our students because they were all wearing masks. Everywhere I went, I saw students wearing masks. They were all, obeying the rules, so to speak. And I'm really proud of what they've done, what the faculty's done, what Dr. Barron and his team have done, and of course, what the board's done. So unquestionably, that's still our biggest concern. We have an amazing game coming up this weekend.
We do.
And I want to say publicly to our alumni, please don't come to town. Please stay home and watch it on TV. And students, please don't go on the parking lots to tailgate. They'll be closed. We've discussed the things we've done and working with the borough in terms of, it's just not, look, I'm sure there are bigger fans of Penn State football than I am, but I'm certainly in the top bunch.
Right.
And I love football and I'm glad we're playing, but let's keep our success going and let's not create a spike event by celebrating our team. So
Yeah,
that's the number one concern.
Yeah, it's such a, both you and I mean, the work that I do, right? We're always inviting people to things, right? And yet the thing that Penn Staters can do right now to help is actually stay where you are and cheer for the Nittany Lions. Stay home and cheer for the Nittany Lions. That ensures that our students get to finish this semester the way that we had planned for them to finish and can have another semester and the community stays healthy and everything that's connected to the community continues to work. And so the best thing you can do, the biggest Penn State fans will stay home and cheer for the Nittany Lions. And that's what we hope that folks do, as uncomfortable as that is in both of our roles, to say, don't come to Penn State, right?
Yep. And I also should mention about that presentation, even though it was pre-recorded, it was sort of executed live, meaning that I was there to answer questions like this call. Right. And 100% of the feedback, there were a few questions, but most of it was congratulations on a great job. And what was interesting is the Penn Staters that were at the conference who commented on being proud of Penn State and what we're doing. So it was very exciting to be in that kind of environment where you got direct feedback from a whole lot of Penn Staters. And because I travel a lot, and I always wear when I travel, which of course I haven't done much since March, but when I travel everywhere, when I went to Beijing, I always have a Penn State hat or a Penn State shirt or something, and people react. I mean, we have alumni everywhere that will say something, and even the ones that aren't alumni, that are many fans that say something, including in China.
Absolutely. This is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford. I'm joined by Alumni Trustee and President and CEO of KETCHConsulting, Ted Brown. All right, Ted, let's have a little bit of fun, okay? I'm going to throw some quick questions out to you, and you tell me kind of your quick response, okay? Your favorite Penn State memory?
It's the lightning round kind of thing, and I don't have a single favorite memory. It would be so hard pressed. I was so proud when I was elected president of my fraternity. I was so honored when I was tapped by Parmenou. I was so excited when I graduated. I was so thrilled that IBM hired me, and I've stayed 30 years. I don't have a Penn State moment. But add to that excitement, seeing my daughters graduate from Penn State is a pretty exciting Penn State moment. Seeing my now about to be 8-year-old granddaughter, when she was 3, singing Hail to the Lion in her cheerleader outfit.
Those are great moments. How about your favorite class at Penn State?
You're going to be shocked by this answer, considering I graduated in technical degrees in math and chemistry and all those things. I like the history classes.
Yeah.
Because there was no pressure in terms of grade point in my major, and I could just take whatever I wanted, like American history, and that I thought I knew a lot about it, and just enjoy sharing perspectives with professors. So some of my favorite classes were not in my discipline because there was no pressure. I mean, I could just go and learn.
How about your favorite spot or your favorite building on campus?
Well, there's no question the favorite spot is the Nittany Lion Shrine.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you earlier that I have a picture of me when I was 4. I have a picture of my whole family on the Lion, including my sister and her kids and my mother. And so the Lion is center to a lot of memories. Even up to today, that when a video I mentioned a moment ago that I filmed about our recovery, we went up to film with the Lion, and there's a young lady who graduated, got her master's in August, graduated in a virtual graduation.
Right.
So I said hello to her. In the video is this young lady talking about her Penn State experience.
That's
and
amazing.
she was at the Lion to take a picture to send to her grandmother, because of course her grandmother couldn't be at commencement.
Right. So you've traveled the world. What's your most unusual we are moment?
I guess, well, many years ago, my wife and I were in Paris, France. And even though I took a year of college French, I know I'm going to get yelled at for mispronouncing the Champs-Élysées. I know that. But I'm walking across the street, and a block away from me in Paris, France, is Joe Paterno.
Come on.
Yep.
That's amazing. So were you both there kind of just on pleasure trips, or was it business, or?
No, it was semi-business for me. I went around the world with IBM, and we were there for that. So it was sort of business, and I have no idea why he was there. He's on vacation.
He might have been recruiting. You never know with Joe. In all corners of the world, trying to find the best football players.
And then I saw him the next day, the same place. So I leave Paris. And at the time we lived in Connecticut. And so we fly back to New York, and I drop my wife off. I go on to Chicago to an IBM meeting in Chicago. And all these people that worked for me or worked with me were in this IBM meeting in Chicago. And they said, "Oh, Ted, you just missed him." I said, "Who?" "Joe Paterno was here yesterday."
Oh, that's funny. Your favorite Penn State sport?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Football. And my apologies to all of the other sports. I love them all. I try to go to other events, but I'm pretty myopic football fan. Yeah. By the way, back to the collection. Tom Slusser's helmet from the 30s.
That's amazing. And the final lightning round question is, what is your favorite flavor of Creamery ice cream?
Guess.
I'm going to guess Peachy Paterno. There we go. Well, Ted, I'm so glad that we were able to get together and talk about Penn State and to see a little bit more of your collection. Your service to Penn State has certainly swelled thy fame of dear old state. And for that, we're truly grateful. Thanks for joining us on Coffee Hour.
Thank you. This has been fun.
And thank you all for watching, whether it's here in Zoom or on Facebook Live. If you're a member of the Penn State Alumni Association, thank you for your support. If you're not, go to our website and join at alumni.psu.edu today. Our members fuel the pride that powers the Penn State Alumni Association. And so go online, become a member of the world's largest alumni association today. Tomorrow night, Thursday, 8 o'clock, I'm back with John Black for another episode of Football Letter Live. We hope that you will join us there. And I just want to thank everybody once again for joining us. Thank you for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are
Penn State.